What's up everyone, this is Marky2200 here and welcome back to my Need for Speed testing series, where today we'll be taking a look at the best of the best drift cars in Need for Speed Pro Street. I took the top 15 best drift cars from the Stage 3 video and I re-ranked and retested them with Stage 4 parts. I tested these cars on two tracks. I tested them on Autopolis C and Portland B. So in the end, a car achieved two results. And I ranked all these cars based on the average between the two results. So we have a good way of knowing how a car is between two different tracks. And as usual, all the cars have been tuned properly. All the tunes you will find in a Google spreadsheet file, which is in the link in the description of this video. With that being said, let's see which of the cars achieved 17th place. And at number 17 we have the Pagani Zonda F. I wanted to include the Zonda because the Zonda was the best of the supercars, but still. The reason why supercars in general are very bad for drifting is because supercars' default handling characteristics are just not a match for drifting. Because all of the cars in this video have zero upgrade for handling. Because they have no suspension upgrades, they have no tire upgrades and no brake upgrades. That's because you just in general want the least amount of grip possible, so it slides easily. Because the Zonda already has insanely good suspension, brakes and tires to begin with, that is just simply not a good match for drifting. Now, as you can see, I've put up in the infographics both the results for Autopolis C and Portland B, as well as how the car resulted in Stage 3 and the difference in points. So for instance, for the Mustang, the difference in points is just about 500 points, which is somewhat, I would say, a bit below average. There are a couple of cars where the difference is over 1000 points, but I think about 7 of the 17 cars actually scored more than 1000 points compared to the Stage 3 results. Coming in at number 12 already we have the GTO. While the GTO is a natural fit for drifting, it's decent at scoring points. It's a heavy, slow muscle car, and its slow steering is what keeps it low down in the ranking. At number 11 we have the NSX, and the NSX is just an overall solid car. Scored quite decently, it improved quite decently, but it was also 11th in Stage 3 video. It's just an overall decent upgrade. Cracking already into the top 10 we have the Z4, and the Z4, just like the NSX, is just an overall good solid car and I have nothing really to complain about it. I want to talk briefly about some of the other cars that we've seen in this list, like the 350Z, which is a bit underwhelming. The Corolla, which has an insane lack of power even at Stage 4, and that's just clearly noticeable and often a handicap. And the Mustang felt alright, nothing special. The Z4 here is again a very good overall solid car, nothing to complain about. Then coming at number 9, and actually a couple of cars above that, we have some classic muscle cars, starting with the Charger. It handles like a boat, but its age-old suspension and just lack of tire grip is an insanely natural fit for drifting. It's basically the opposite of the Zonda, where the Zonda had by default already insanely good tire grip, good suspension. Obviously the classic muscle cars, because of their age, have very little grip by default, which for drifting is an insanely natural good fit. However, because of the Charger, it's a very long heavy boat, so the steering is quite bad. For number 8, the Chevelle, it's basically the same like the Charger. It has old suspension, old tires, old brakes. It handles just a bit better because I think it's just the wheelbase is a bit shorter. That definitely helps. And what I love about these cars is that you don't need to do much about these cars. Just throw in a good engine, throw in a good force induction. They will already be quite good for drifting. Transmission wise, overall, yes, you'll be better off with a better transmission, but I don't think it's required. Then at number 7 we have the Corvette 67, and knowing from the grip racing, this car handles probably the best out of the classic muscle cars, and that's why it's probably also the best of these three. It has the same handling characteristics as the other classic muscle cars, but it steers better. That's probably because of, well, how it's aerodynamically shaped, how it's a shorter wheelbase, and in general, that helps it immensely. Coming in at number 6, the top 6, this is what I would say is the S tier for drifting. At number 6 we have the Cadillac CTS-V, which was in the Stage 3 video number 2. So why is it low down on the list? It is a heavy muscle car after all. It is basically the same like the GTO from 2005, which was at number 12. But it scores points better. But like the GTO, the steering is just not immensely good. Yes, it scores points very quickly. It's an overall natural fit, but because of its sluggish steering, it is not insane, and it has the least score improvement of only about 300 points. Then we have the 240SX, and the 240SX has easily got the best handling out of all of them. The 240SX had an insanely good score for both Autopolis and Portland, and average-wise it was also very good. It also improved its score by over 1000 points, and like I said, that was somewhat rare. What I love about 240SX is it also is a starter car. You get it from the very first race, and basically what you can do is just keep this for your entire run as a drift car. Like I said, you don't need much for a good drift car. Just throw in a good engine, throw in a good turbo, and because this is somewhat of a modern car, it already has a decent gearbox by default. No need for tire upgrades, no need for suspension upgrades, no need for brake upgrades, that's all just not needed, and for suspension wise it also hinders it quite a bit. What I found is that the higher the suspension upgrade, the lower amount of points you score. So yes, handling wise it won't be as good as Stage 3 suspension, but it'll more make up for it for the points increase scoring. Then we have the RX-8, and in my opinion the RX-8 was the most natural car on this list. It just felt super comfortable to use, and it scored points and insanely fast basically. You also may have noticed that I've put on some wide body kits and some spoilers. Truth be told, I have no idea if it actually does anything for the cars. I just put it on it because for the other Stage 4 videos I also did that. Coming at number 3 we have the car that was number 1 in the Stage 3 video. I praised this car in Stage 3 for the lack of grip. You know, it always feels like this car is always wheel spinning. But here it can be a bit of a handicap because especially for Portland, it had trouble getting up to speed. Mind you, I will say that once you are up to speed and you are getting into a drift, this car is just an insane joy to handle. It feels like you have never grip, but you also have control, which is a bit weird to say. The point score increase from Stage 3 to Stage 4 is 765 points, which is decent. It's nothing special, but truth be told, I always adore this car for drifting. While it's only number 3, it's still a podium position. Coming in at number 2 we have the RX-7, and the RX-7 was the car that I thought was going to be number 1, but it didn't. What I want to say about the RX-7 is that it doesn't really feel incredibly special to drift. It just gets points insanely fast. So handling wise it doesn't feel that much better than an RX-8. Power wise it's not that special. Handling wise it's not that special. It just gets points insanely fast. What I love about the RX-7 is that you can get it for free from Aki. That's why probably many people think this is the best drift car. Mind you, it is pretty much one of the best. However, there is one car that I have never considered to be the best drift car in the entire game. And that car, at number 1, we have the Camaro SS. And I have to say, it wasn't also that close either. Where the RX-7 average-wise scored 12,402 points, the Camaro scored 12,670 points. What I remember vividly from the grip racing testing is that the Camaro would pretty much slide all over the place. Basically, the Camaro handles pretty much as good as the Corvette 67, but because of probably its even shorter wheelbase, it just gets points so quickly. It has the same handling characteristics of all the muscle cars, all the classic muscle cars, but it just gets points so fast. And I have never even thought this would be so good. Also, the Camaro had the biggest improvement going in from stage 3 to stage 4, 1788 points. The next best car was the Z4 at 1400 points. This car is just so good at drifting. It also is very naturally good at drifting. Once again, just throw in an engine, throw in a better turbocharger, and maybe some NOS. I mean, drivetrain wise, you don't need much. Yes, all these cars have got stage 4 drivetrain, but tuning wise for drivetrains, I pretty much barely did anything for most of them. Because when you have this much power and this little grip, I don't think drivetrains matter that much. This car just handles so naturally good, it was super powerful, it slided easily, and it scored points so good, meaning that it was in the end the best for drifting. And that was it for the drifting video. I mean, for all of you who are just here for the drift ranking, like, subscribe, all that stuff, I appreciate you watching. But for those of you who have been for a longer time here, this has been the last video for the Need for Speed retesting series. And it's been one heck of a ride. I genuinely want to thank all of you who have been here constantly since the beginning. I want to thank any of you who have been watching some of these videos. And I want to give a special mention to all the guys who are here during the premiere. You guys are absolute legends. It's been nearly 2 years since the very first Pro Street retesting video. But all good things must come to an end eventually. And this series just has. Once again, thank you so much for watching. Like and subscribe, all that stuff. For the future, I don't know what will be next, I don't know when it will be, but in the meantime we have the streams to continue, we have an awesome Discord server for you to join, link of which is in the description down below, and that's it, I guess. This has been Marky 2200 for now. Thank you so much for watching and hope to see you very soon. Take care.